Greetings and salutations this fine morning. Can start reading over this while we're waiting for a few more people to join us. Now, the exception to this rule is when you're talking about your personal experience. Sometimes your instructors will give you direction to use your personal experience in a paper. And if they do that, they're giving you permission to use I think, I believe. So just like in your cover letter, you're outlining your personal experiences with the job. It's okay in that case. These are just general guidelines. Some of the things to remember, though, avoid being less formal in a business type writing. I'm seeing a lot of contractions, which are you take two words and you take out some letters and then replace them with an apostrophe. Don't, won't, shouldn't, couldn't. For formal business writing, you need to spell those out. Should not, could not, can't is cannot. Okay. So as you're going through and editing your cover letter and resume, for tonight, make sure that you take out your contractions. Avoid informal or slang phrases and non-standard grammar and wording. Ain't, theirselves, hisself, you know, a lot is two words. Avoid abbreviating words. Make your sentences more sophisticated. Show your writing skills, you know. So these are some things to remember because these are the two stages we're at, right? Or today we're talking about word choice, clarity, conciseness, sentence flow, grammar, spelling, punctuation. Now the last one is kind of what I like to call cleanup on aisle 9. It's you look for, you know, you put it away for as long as you can because your brain will trick you. If you are trying to read something that you've read several times in a row, your brain will make everything look fine. Okay? You have to have some distance from it, or you have to have an independent person just read it over quickly for any obvious errors. So typos. Then here's a thing that people generally don't do that can really affect your grade and cost you points. You've looked at the assignment at the beginning when you first started it, and then you never look at the requirements again. One of the things you do in the final proofreading stage is make sure you're formatting everything according to the directions, that you've met all the requirements, like you've got a cover letter, you've got the resume, and you have a copy of the job posting, because that's one of the things that I asked for in the instructions. So make sure you include that when you turn in your assignment. It's basically making sure all of the elements that are asked for by the employer or by your instructor, you know, is it in the right font? Is it in APA or MLA format, depending on what's asked for? So these are the two stages you're working at for your last, and you are formalizing your language and tone. Okay, just like when we're elevating your word choice. Okay, all of that makes it more formal. So today we're going to talk about concision or being concise. And I pick on a lot of people for this. I gave you guys the example of the fast driving is dangerous sentence that is so maligned, and most people don't intend to do it. I mean, it just, our brains write shitty first drafts, right? We talked about this. So, and when we go back to the editing stage, there are usually words that can be taken out, okay? and it makes your writing more accessible and easier to read if you're putting less words between us and the idea. Okay, so the cover letter is a good place to start because it's brief. You can take a good look at it. You can really interrogate all the sentences to see if they could be written any more effectively. You're still looking for sentence variety and all of those good things. So here's kind of a wordy sentence. The politician talked about several of the merits of after-school programs. If you start to see a lot of these little helping words like of and be verbs, about, could, should, would, that's usually a signal, not always, sometimes you need those words, but it's a signal to take a look at that verb and see if you need to make it a stronger verb, okay? So instead of talked about several of the merits, they replaced that, all of that, with the politician touted after school programs, or promoted would be another word you could use that essentially means the same thing as, playing up the merits of the after school program. So that's, again, when you're looking at using the best words, and you kill two birds with one stone, right? You not only make it more concise, but you make it more precise. All right. Susie believed but could not confirm that Billy had feelings of affection for her. Okay. Susie assumed Billy adored her. Now, it's usually much easier to pick out these things in other people's writing than our own, but you can kind of get used to looking at how you do your first drafts and know what kinds of habits you have, and be on the lookout and make an error checklist, right? That basically says, here's what I usually do. I usually do comma splices. I usually have fragments. I usually have long verbs. So those are the things you want to target when you're doing your editing. Our website has made available many of the things you can use for making a decision on the best dentist. Our website presents criteria for determining the best dentist. Working as a pupil under someone who develops photos. Who is someone who develops photos? Okay. A photographer, okay, or a photo technician, was an experience that really helped me learn a lot. Again, you have a lot of these small words in there. Okay. As it says, look at every word in that sentence. Okay. The teacher demonstrated some of the various ways and methods for cutting words from my essay that I had written for class. Okay. The teacher demonstrated methods for cutting words from my essay. Simplify. Now, caution, don't take out the pretty. Okay. Sometimes you have really good words, you have good descriptions, you have excellent figurative language if it's appropriate, a little bit less so with the formal business writing. But just because it could be taken out does not mean it should be taken out, right? If it adds interest or creativity, then that's usually a reason you want to leave it in. It's the empty and small and excessive words that you really want to target. Eric Clapton and Steve Winwood formed a new band of musicians together in 1969, giving it the ironic name of Blind Faith because early speculation that was spreading everywhere about the band suggested that the new musical group would not be good enough to rival the earlier bands that both men had been in. Cream and Traffic, which people had really liked and had been very popular. Okay. Eric Clapton and Steve Winwood formed a new band in 1969, ironically naming it Blind Faith because speculation suggested the group would rival the group would not rival the previous popular bands Cream and Traffic. Okay. So again, because early speculation was spreading everywhere. You don't need all that. People were speculating. Okay. Earlier bands that both men had been in, previous popular bands. All right. This is kind of where they did the same thing I did to the fast driving is dangerous sentence. Many have made the wise observation that when a stone is in motion rolling down a hill or incline, that moving stone is not as likely to be covered all over with the kind of thick green moss that grows on stationary, unmoving things and becomes a nuisance, and suggests that those things haven't moved in a long time and probably won't move anytime soon. or a rolling stone gathers no moss. Okay. Another thing that you can do, which adds to sentence variety and concision, is combine sentences. So Ludwig's castles are an astounding marriage of beauty and madness. By his death, he commissioned 3 castles. Or Ludwig's 3 castles are astounding marriage of beauty and madness. Now, if you need to emphasize how many castles he commissioned, then don't take it out. But if it's not necessary information, consider joining the 2 sentences. Okay. The supposed crash of a UFO in Roswell, New Mexico aroused interest in extraterrestrial life. This crash is rumored to have occurred in 1947. Then you can just take this and put it in front of what it's describing. The supposed 1947 crash of a UFO in Roswell, New Mexico. Then you get rid of virtually this entire sentence, and you still communicate what you need to in a more elegant fashion. Questions? Now, you can also, with your error checklist, get used to sort of phrases. Like, we all tend to have habits that we use. So, again, there are some phrases that you can sort of target your editing to be more efficient and look out for. Zoom is slow today. So, instead of saying a majority of respondents were single parents, most were single parents. Okay, a sufficient number of cases, enough. As a result of, because, due to. Okay, I see a lot of due to the fact that. All of this can be replaced with one word, which is because. At the present time, now, today, currently. Okay, by means of, by. Articles often draw attention to, articles often point to problematic cases. Here it is, the due to the fact that, in light of the fact that, can be replaced with because. So if you commonly know you use this phrase, then you can target your editing, hit Control F, type in the phrases that you typically use that can be concisely edited, and look for them in your writing. Save yourself some time. For the reason that, another one, because, have a tendency to, they tend to, have an impact on, effect, or impact. Okay. So in order to, in spite of the fact that, that's another one I see, although, in the event that, if, so I'm going to drop this into the chat so you can take a look and see if there are any phrases that you commonly use. So let's try to edit some together. So this first one's already done. Okay, we're going to revise these sentences to get rid of needless repetition, wordy phrases, clauses. Okay, another thing you can frequently do is if you have something like a phrase like the jeans that were blue, okay, is move the descriptor in front of what you're describing. So instead of saying the jeans that were blue, you say the blue jeans, right? And there are other things that we just don't realize are repetitive, like the 2 twins. Well, if I say twins, how many am I talking about? I'm automatically talking about 2, right? The date of July 17th. Well, we know it's a date. Now, don't remove that if you're doing it for emphasis, right? You want to really emphasize that that day is a significant date. You know, December 7th, 1941, a day that would live in infamy. That's for emphasis and stylistic reasons. But if it's not necessary to tell us its date, if it's not emphasizing that day, then you don't need to say the date of. or the color of blue. Blue. Okay. So let's take this one and work on it together. Open a document here. So you can put your responses in the chat. And one of the things that you can do is like pretend someone just asked you what this sentence said and that you're explaining to them what the main message in the sentence is. So if we put this in here, let's put it up a little bit. Although it's a good word, that's a fine word to start with. What kind of sentence is this, by the way? Although Bradley Hall is regularly populated by students, close study of the building as a structure is seldom undertaken by them. What do you think? There are lots of different answers, and you may not get like every word out that you possibly could, but even a little bit of improvement is improvement, right? So let's type some ideas in the chat. Although Bradley Hall is regularly populated by students. I'm okay with although. What do you guys think? What can you do next? Regularly populated by. We can definitely improve that. What can we say instead? Inhabited, yeah. Although Bradley Hall is inhabited by many students, although many students go to Bradley Hall. Okay, let's look at the next section. Close study of the building as a structure is seldom undertaken by them. This is what we call passive, where everything is happening to the subject in the sentence instead of this moving the subject up front. So instead of them being at the end of the sentence, what happens if we put it at the beginning of the sentence? So we switch it to they do what? Or in this case, they do not do what? What do you think, Tristan? They do not. They're rarely there. Well, they're saying they rarely do something else. They rarely undertake study of the structure. So I like rarely. Seldom undertaken by can be covered with rarely. So we're getting there. That's what editing is. It's sort of like you try it out, you make adjustments. They rarely. What does it mean to study the building as a structure? What's another word for that? They rarely pay attention to the building. Yeah. But like pay attention to and studying it, what is looking at the structure of a building called? If you're looking at the structure, you're looking at foundation. We're getting there. Yeah. Let's try, although many students inhabit Bradley Hall, they rarely study the, how about architecture, right? That is the structure of the building, looking at it, the study of building structures. Okay, that'll work, right? Let's try another one. He dropped out of school on account of the fact that it was necessary for him to help support his family. I'm okay with he dropped out of school. What about you guys? What can we replace on the account of the fact that with? Are you guys okay with these in the chat, or will you prefer them on a Word document? Or does it not matter? Which one's easier to see?
Chat's fine.
You're okay with this? Okay.
Yeah.
So he dropped out of school on the account of the fact that he dropped out of school. What's one word? Anybody have a guess? Claire, what do you think? They're identifying the reason, right? Well, why did he drop out of school if you were explaining it in your own words?
Can you ask the question again one more time, please?
What is the reason, if you were going to say he dropped out of school to do what? So this is the original one. He dropped out of school on the account of the fact that it was necessary for him to help support his family. So why did he drop out of school?
To support his family.
Excellent. You don't need any of the rest of that. That's all of that idea is saying. He dropped out of school to support his family. You don't need to say on account of the fact that it was necessary for him. All of that is implicit in the sentence. He dropped out of school to support his family. We assume it was necessary because he dropped out, right? Very good. Let's look at another one. It's expected that a new schedule will be announced by the bus company within the next few days. What's the bus company going to do? This is another one of those where the actor in the sentence is at the back. So the bus company is the one who's doing the action, right? Let's put them up front. What's the bus company going to do? What do you think, Jonathan? What are they going to do? Pick up the kids? Well, they're not doing that yet, right? In here, there's nothing about children. What are they going to do in the next few days? They haven't done it yet. What's the verb? I'm actually okay with the verb in here. Isabella, what's the verb in here? Bus company is doing what? Announced, yes. The bus company will announce. What are they going to announce? What are they going to announce, Maria? There you go. When are they going to announce it? Shortly. If you want to be even more concise, you could say in a few days. Or you could say shortly. Depending on how specific you want to be about when it's happening. So this, it is expected that the new bus schedule will be announced by the bus company within the next few days. Went to the bus company will announce the new schedule in a few days. It's much easier to read. So now I'd like to try it out on your cover letters. So I'm going to ask you to go to your cover letter and pick out a sentence that you think we could take some words out of and post it in the chat, and we will help you work on it. So find a wordy sentence in your cover letter and post it in the chat. I'll give you a few minutes to take a look. Maybe you're good. Maybe you don't have a whole lot of wordy sentences if you've already edited some. Maybe you have a sentence that we can help you improve the word choice. Take a quick look. It depends. If you're one of the people who sort of edit in your head, but it's always a good idea, yes, to go through that revision and editing stage. It's pretty rare that you can just write it the first time and nothing could be improved, right? So generally you should take another look at it. Improve your word choice, your sentence flow, transitions, add those in there. Oh, another thing I want to remind you guys while we're waiting for you to find something. Parallelism, don't forget to make your list parallel. So if you have a bullet list and you have all ED words, stick with past tense, right? Okay, thank you, Claire. Let's do this one on a Word document. Since my 8th grade year, I have been lifting and learning the correct ways to get in shape for my sport. So what do you think? Help her out, guys. How can she make this more concise? Type something in the chat. Let's start with, what can we do with since my 8th grade year? Any words we can take out here? I see a couple. What could we take out and not change the meaning? Claire, you can also offer your thoughts on it. Alexis, what do you think? Yeah, I think we can improve it. I think we can take out 2 words. So what 2 words do you think we can take out? Yes, exactly. Right? Your name's on the paper. I'm going to assume you're talking about yourself unless you tell me otherwise. So if it's your 8th grade year, since 8th grade, right? I've been lifting and learning the correct ways to get into shape for my sport. Okay. Learning the correct ways. I feel like we can replace all of that with one word, that a verb that is going to express all of that. I am fine with I have been looking. What do you guys think? Tristan, what do you think? Anybody think of a verb? We can use the magic right click button, right? What if we said lifting and studying the correct ways, studying how okay with my sport. I mean, you might could take it off, but because studying implies that you're looking at the correct ways, right? If you're looking at things in learning material, hopefully you're not looking at the wrong ones. So we have the before. Since my 8th grade year, I've been lifting and learning the correct ways to get in shape for my sport. Since 8th grade, I've been lifting and studying how to get in shape for my sport. I like it. See, I think we got about time for one more. If we get one more person to do it, and then tomorrow or next week, we're going to continue working on this because you'll still need it. I know the assignment will be turned in, but we're going to work on editing because this is one of the things that I pick on people for a lot is just using too many words and making it hard to read. Can we get one more sentence from somebody? Mallory, do you have one you want to work on? Milos? What you? Oh, there we go. Q. This isn't too bad, Key. I just completed a major in chemistry and a minor in aerospace at McKendree University. What do you think, guys? Just completed. I think maybe not the only thing we could improve a little bit. This is pretty good, really. Oh, that's the wrong one? Okay, what do you got? I might change completed to graduated, but I wouldn't do too much else to the sentence. I just graduated with a major in chemistry and a minor in aerospace at McKendree University. Or instead of just, I recently. Ah, okay. Your job application for aerospace engineer, I'm really interested in it. Let's reverse the order of that, and I think we can get rid of some words. So let's put you at the front of the sentence, and we're going to formalize it. I am interested in, what are you interested in? So you're interested in their job posting, right? For an aerospace engineer. And they know they're NASA, so you probably don't have to go into that. You're writing to them. I'm interested in your job posting for an aerospace engineer. I think that I really have the qualifications for this job. We're going to run out of time. We're going to finish this. We'll finish working on it just to show it for some examples next week. Remember to turn in your cover letter and resume. Okay. And I'll be here for 10 minutes after. If you want to keep working on this, if you have to go, that's fine. Otherwise, make sure you go through and edit your final cover letter and resume for all the things that we've been talking about. Okay. All right, I'm going to end this session and start another one for 10 minutes. I think we got about one more minute, Key. Let's see. I'm interested in your job posting for aerospace engineer. I really have the qualifications for this job. Anybody want to offer a sentence? We'll probably get cut off here in a minute, but I'm going to let you know how much I'm interested in this job and how exciting it will be if I'm admitted. How about I am excited to apply. Oh, I like qualified. I'm excited to apply and qualified to fill this position. Okay, good. All right, I'll see you guys in a few minutes, or I'll see you. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you Monday.
Bye-bye, teacher. Thank you.